Are live, Believe Nation. Happy Thursday. Thursday is my public facing day. Been doing hangouts and podcasts and interviews and my movement makers all day today. I think this is my last live of the day before moving on and doing other stuff. So I'm excited to be here with you. It's been a wild day. I can't even remember all the people that I talked to. I love doing the interviews and the hangouts and the podcast. I like having one day where I put extrovert hat on, because before going into any individual interview, I'm always kind of stressed out and nervous. But going from one to the next always makes me feel amazing and happy. But I have a special guest I'm going to bring in. Let's see, is she here? Hold on. You're gonna be inspired here. Hold on. Wait. Where is she? Oh, there she is. Okay, I see. Oh, I think, right? Yeah. Whoa, hold on. I see her. Okay, good. Yeah. It's going to be fun. Connecting. There she is.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to meet Trevi. Can we say who you work with, Trevi, or is that secret?
No, yeah, I am the marketing director for Ed Milet. I'm assuming that's the one that you're talking about. I'm sure if you haven't been already a follower of Ed Milet, joining that maxed out community, I am responsible for that entire team, the entire flow, the whole process. And it's been an amazing journey so far.
So I met Trevi, what, a year ago? 2 years? How long?
Yeah,
How long? Something like that?
probably like a year, yeah.
Through Ed. So I help a lot of thought leaders, big names behind the scenes, and I don't say who they are unless they're comfortable saying who they are. I love Ed. I love his match. I love everything he's working on. And what I found is that everybody has a person. And they usually say a guy, because it's almost all guys. Everybody's got a guy. And then when I got on the call with Trevi, it's like, oh, not a guy. This is awesome. And also, nobody who's black is the guy either. And so Ed went off and got an awesome black woman to join. And I said, Trevi, you got to share your story. Like, this is an inspiration. People will look up to you because you're not normal in the industry. And so she said, really? I said, yeah. You should let's do an IG live together. I can be your first one to share your story. So tell us first, how did you get started in digital marketing? And then how did you end up working for someone like Ed?
Yeah, that's a really good question. First of all, it's so true about the lack of women in the media industry, content creation, video production. Like, I think probably throughout my entire career, I may have actually worked with one other, and that's a maybe because I'm not sure. But yeah, I guess I would say I grew up as like a computer geek, like back in the days of DOS. And my dad was a computer software engineer. And then he used to work on satellites. And so I would just sit at the computer and watch him build computers, run programs. And I just thought it was so cool. So by the time I got to college, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go in computer science. I love coding. I love creating things. And this is what I really wanted to do. So keep in mind, I went to an all-women's college in Oakland, California. And their grad program was co-ed. And when I got to the more advanced classes in computer science, I was the only woman there. And I was like, I go to an all women's college and there's still no women represented in this computer science world. And then I actually was told, there was one math class, hardest thing I've ever taken in my life. And I went to my teacher and I asked him, I was like, hey, can I get some extra help? I'm really not understanding. I need some extra support. And he literally told me, I don't think you're going to make it in computer science, so you should probably pick another major.
Wow. Okay.
I think I was a junior. Straight A student. There was no reason why I'm like, that's why I'm here. I'm asking you for help. I need support. Anyways, it was just a very real, it put a very real stamp on why there's no women here, why there's no Black women here. It was just very in my face. And honestly, I was like, oh, I guess maybe it's not for me. And maybe I can't do this. And so I actually did end up switching my major. I turned it into my minor because I was just like, he's not going to help me pass this class. so I'm not going to be able to get through this, have my major. So I switched my major to digital art because I loved video editing and I thought it was amazing. And I kind of took, that took me to whole nother places. So I started off in video production as a video editor, and I had the opportunity to work with now an Emmy-winning director. It's so amazing. Like when I look back at some of the jobs that I was allowed to have when I was back in college or just graduating, it really laid the foundation of me to believe in myself and that I could actually do something. On top of going to a women's college where they teach women how to assert yourself and believe in yourself and make it in a profession that's heavily dominated by men.
So wait, so the women's college was not where you were doing the coding?
It was, yes.
Oh, it was.
But
so
there
it was
were
all women though who were then in that class.
It was the very entry classes were women, and then the more advanced classes they were all grad students, which was co-ed and all men. So the women that started with me never made it to those next level classes.
Got it. Okay. Crazy. Okay. And then so how did you end up now being in charge of marketing for Ed Milet?
So I started my own business. I was doing video production on the side. I moved to LA, so I'm in SoCal now. I was doing video editing on the side. I had my regular 9 to 5, excelling in that job. And I was just doing videos on the side. And I remember I worked at a higher end bank. So I was a manager at a bank and I worked with higher end clientele. Net worth was really high. And so my clients would come in and I would help them, and they would do things. They'd be telling me about their businesses that they're running. The majority of people who go into the bank nowadays are business owners. They're telling me about all their business and what they're doing, and then somebody will come in and pull out $20,000 for their kid because they want to help them with a down payment on their house, or teenagers coming in and pulling out 5 racks to go shopping. And I'm just like, what the heck? Why is this not my life? I feel like we are so far behind, with being able to do that. My parents can't give me $20,000 right now for a down payment on my house. How do I change that? And how do I level this playing field so that I can be like these business owners that are doing amazing things? I had honestly never heard about entrepreneurship, but when I started my career, until I got to the bank and met these people, and I'm like, oh snap! I'm technically running my own business on the side and nights and weekends, editing video. So I just decided I'm gonna put all my effort. I'm gonna take these online classes, and I studied business at the School of Wharton online for free. And I learned how to start my business, and I did. And then eventually I got up the courage to quit my job and just put everything I had into this business. And the crazy thing is, it doesn't take that much to make that leap. Sometimes people make it a lot harder than it needs to be. All you need is a little bit of income and a desire and a passion that no matter what, you're not going to quit. So I started that agency. It turned into from video production and crossed into marketing and kind of put some services together. And I met a couple of amazing people along the way, including Ed Milet, while I was helping another agency build an infrastructure. And we just clicked and hit it off. And he was like, why don't we, work on this, and let's build another agency together, and I'm going to support you in this, and I'm going to be your test client. And it was just the really intersection of when opportunity meets preparation, because I was prepared for that moment. I was ready, in that instant, to be like, yes, let's go. I got the team. I got the support. I know what I'm doing, and we can make this happen. And we've just, been growing ever since. And it's not going to stop. Literally, so the agency that I work with Ed Milet is called Prestige Marketing Group. I also have another business for My Story, My Brand, where I like to help Black women business owners start their businesses and get branded. And then I have my first video production company that I started way back in the day. So I guess you could say it's a serial entrepreneur thing, but this is, it's my passion. And it's something that I feel like everyone or most people can be able to do.
I love it. I love your story. And I mean, as soon as all the Black Lives Matter stuff came out, I thought, what a time to tell your story. I'm curious for you, maybe in life and in this business, because there's a lot of women entrepreneurs, but not necessarily in this field. Which have you felt more I don't know, prejudice or stigma or issues when you walk into a room? Is it, do you think it's being Black or being a woman in business and in life?
So in business, there's three factors at play,
Yeah.
honestly. So I'm just now getting over one of them, which is the age barrier. Because when I started this at like 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And I also like look really young. Also, from working, in corporate America to this business, the first barrier is, oh my gosh, you look like a kid, right? Like you're a kid. I don't know if I trust you like that, which is
Yeah.
pretty valid. Like, so I've felt like that before when like if a doctor walks in and they're like 21, I'm gonna be like, are you having a practice, right?
Right,
Like,
right. See that degree?
um,
Yeah.
but then there's also, I think the next biggest shock to people is that I'm a woman. That's like been in business,
Yeah.
that's been my biggest, like, oh my God, because my name's Trevi. And then, so even in emails, like people usually think I'm a guy.
Yeah.
And like people will even say him or hey brother. And I don't really correct them because like how do you correct somebody like that in email? Like
Yeah.
actually I'm a girl without being rude, right?
Yeah.
So
I
like,
think
and
I
then,
might have done that. I might have wrote that, hey man, or something like that.
yeah. And then I get like, they meet me in person or we get on a video call and they're like, oh my gosh, you're a woman. And I'm like, yeah. And then like usually by that point, it's like there's no backing out now. Like you've already decided that we're working together. But it's definitely a shock value. And I think in corporate America, race was a major big deal. Like I had so many racist experience working at this bank because I was the manager. People just couldn't believe there was nobody else that they could talk to. Like, because, and then more when I got into entrepreneurship, I can't really, the clients, I work like really closely with my clients and we get to know each other really well. So as far as my clients, race doesn't play that big of a factor in it. I think that a lot of my clients are excited to support me, but I also know that there are some clients that I've got on a call with and they're surprised and would prefer to work with some of our employees versus working one-on-one with me. And
Wow.
yeah, so,
So
and it's
wait,
kind of,
why keep that client?
that's a good question.
Okay.
I think that because that's a really good question, and it's kind of like I've never been like, do you not want to work with me, right? Like because that's what my perception is from what I get from the conversation.
Yeah.
And so I could say, like, do you want to not work with me because I'm Black? But like, I really don't want to have that conversation because if they say yes, like that's kind of some trauma that I don't really want to deal with.
Right, right. But why not
And
if you're uncomfortable being on the call with them or you know that they'd rather talk to somebody else in your team when you own the business and know the most, like why not just say, I don't think this is working out without even addressing it?
so here's my thought process on that because
Okay.
I've thought about this.
Okay.
And I said to myself, any other company would be happy to take money from Black people, regardless of whether they believe Black Lives Matter, regardless of whether they think that they're racist or not, or that, things are unfair. It doesn't matter how they feel about Black people, love them or hate them. They're still going to take our money. They want our money because it helps them support and grows their business. So my theory is, if there's people who don't like me personally because I'm the owner, but you're willing to sign up for my services and you want to work with my team, to me, the most important part is that income I'm getting from them goes back into the Black community as the things that I'm supporting. So it's like, I don't care if you don't like me, but if you want to sign up, my team's more than happy to help you because you're still going to pay me anyway.
Okay.
Like, and so it just, in that flow of money coming in,
yeah,
I'm not going to be like, I don't care if you don't like me personally. If you like my services, like, just pay us. That's fine.
It's like Robin Hood style. I guess maybe, like, does somebody who thinks like that not translate over? Like, then you have to only not have any Black people that this person talks to? Does that impact the team of, like, if somebody is racist like that, does it not speak to their character, which then hurts even somebody else on the team? No, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that if I ever came across a client that was just like overt about it, I probably would be like, this isn't a good fit because I don't, and even when like I have some Black employees that do like social media engagement and respond to comments. And so like over the last week, or last couple weeks, I've been like, if you're on any of our clients' accounts and you see racist comments, like, you skip them. You do not need to reply to them. You can delete them if you want. That's fine. Like, and keep it moving, because I also don't want that. That's kind of like an extreme situation. One of my top priorities is making sure that my staff is taken care of,
Right.
and that they don't take in that trauma. So I would be very careful about that.
Yeah, interesting. So when I see, when I first met you, I'm like, I'm pumped. Like, this is so good to get the other perspective, because I remember reading in Dean Graziosi's book, Dean, heavy into marketing world, friends with Ed and everybody else. And when he was launching KBB with Tony Robbins, that was a knowledge blueprint business. I forget what it stands for. Jenna Kutcher told him, this is all like way too male oriented. All of your marketing, all your communications, all of the branding, all of the, right? And she gave some feedback, because it's all designed by guys. So she gave some feedback on how to make it more woman friendly, and ended up like more than doubling their sales, because it attracted, because a lot of women are into self-growth and development and masterminding communication. So I think it's such an advantage to be, the only woman in the game, at least that I've met so far, and sharing perspective, and even just how you design the thumbnails and how you give input to booking guests. And I only work with you on the YouTube side. I'm sure that kind of fits into all of his marketing. So in entrepreneur land, you find being a woman is a bigger issue, but in corporate land and in like life land, being Black is a big issue.
Yeah, and the way that plays is that, like, so it's kind of like, okay, so like, let me try to explain this. So in corporate America, it was bad. I was like, one level, it's bad because I'm the only one. Like, in the area that I'm at, I'm really usually the only one. Yeah. And so there's a stigma and a stereotype of who Black women are already. It's ingrained into the brains of most people. It's in media. Like, there's no escaping it. Like, Black women are aggressive. Black women are loud. They are confrontational. They are, pretty much, like, I would say the least protected person in this country. Last, women and Black. Like, we're at the bottom of the totem pole here. And that is just who we are. And so I have to be careful, especially like in corporate America. Every day that I go to work, it's almost like a show. So I have to prepare myself when back in corporate America to go to work. Like, I can't get up and not straighten out my hair and go to work. So I have to make sure over my weekend, let me spend my 3 hours to straighten out my hair. I don't have a choice, because if I went to work with my natural hair, people really wouldn't take me seriously. It's hard enough already when I'm like, I've conformed to like what I'm supposed to look like. So that's number one. Like, and then there's, okay, well, if something does happen that makes me upset or that is wrong, my first thought is not, I get to react naturally or like what's appropriate to this situation. Because if that response is anger or any kind of emotion, my opinions and my thoughts are automatically not valid, because, oh, well, she's just an angry Black woman. Like, what did you expect from her? And so it's a constant balance of, it's a show, and then I have to be conscious and really censor myself to make sure that what I'm saying is heard, because if I do certain things, I'll be dismissed as just another angry Black woman. And I would say, like, that happens not just in corporate America, that's within life. Like, when I feel like I was going to a Black Lives Matter rally not too long ago, like last week, and this man walks up to me, and it's probably like 1,000 people out here. There's cops everywhere. Guy drives up to me and my fiance, and he's like, I really support your cause, but make sure you keep it peaceful, okay? And he said it, and I was just kind of like, there's like 1,000 other people around here. What in the world made you feel like you needed to come up to me and my fiance to say that when I own a business in this community? I'm probably more invested in it than you are. Did you say that to the cops over there? Did you say that to the group of white kids over there? But you felt like you should say that to me while I'm walking around with a $5,000 camera around my neck, because you think that I'm going to use it to smash a window or something? Like, and I was like, my initial response, it caught me off guard because we were literally just getting out of the car to walk over to the rally. So I'm not even in like rally mode and motivational mode. I'm just like, let me get all my stuff. And then this guy runs up and when he said okay, he wasn't just saying it to move on. He was waiting for me to acknowledge, sure, I won't destroy some stuff.
Right.
And I was so mad. And I was just like, and I wanted to like go off on him. And in my head, I was like, but if I do that, it's going to further that stereotype of what he believes I already am. So I can't even do that. So then I got to take all that energy in, figure out how to come back at him educationally and not angry. And I'm just like, at that moment, I was just like, F it. Like, I don't have time. Like, I just looked at him and rolled my eyes and went about my business. But like, there's no winning in that situation because of that pressure and the stereotype that's on us. And it's like, it was very like eye-opening to see like there's been cases like that over and over and over and over again since I was in kindergarten to literally like last week, where these type of things still happen and we don't realize the trauma that can cause a person until like I sat down and wrote out a list of stuff that I could remember, and it was a long list, and I was like, dang, that's a lot. And I don't like that is trauma that has definitely manifested itself in my life somehow.
You know the story of Jackie Robinson?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the first black player in baseball, but he wasn't the best black baseball player. I'm maybe just more of a baseball nut, so dive deep into baseball history. But there were the major leagues and then the Negro leagues, and a lot of the best players were in the Negro leagues, the black leagues. Satchel Paige, a bunch of amazing players that could have been on talent the first black player in baseball, but they went with Jackie because there was such a stigma, and they needed somebody who was skilled but also had the mindset not to react. So when people threw at him or dug their heels into him or spat on him or called him all these names, which he got like constantly, right, every day, plus just being able to handle the media scrutiny and the attention and all that, they needed somebody strong-willed enough not to feed into the darkest temptations to then prove everybody right. And then there was never another black baseball player because look what he did.
Yeah,
right?
He got angry. Oh my gosh.
And it feels wrong to even say it or talk about it, or like that has to be the expectation. But it just kind of reminds me of that story when you talk about what you went through, maybe not being like the first ever in history, but still being kind of isolated and alone. But he paved the way, right? I mean, like his mental fortitude and his holding his tongue and his taking the higher road, even though he didn't need to, like he shouldn't have, like it hurt him to do it, but him doing it ended up paving the way now where he's the only retired number in all of baseball. I mean, the number of black players is ridiculous. It's normal. But like how much he had to do to pave the way, it just reminds me, hearing your struggle just kind of reminds me a little bit of that, it's a heavier burden to carry. But what I love in everything that you're talking about is not just making the short-term selfish what Trevi needs in the moment, but also thinking about how this could be not just perceived by others, but helpful.
Yeah, right? It's like, is it helpful for anyone except, for me to go off on this guy? No, it's not going to change his heart. It's not going to make him realize what he's doing. And one major branding thing that's really important, that's really the basis behind why I do any of what I'm doing. Like, you really have to get into, when you're building your business, what is my goal and my purpose in life with this business? And I uncovered for myself that my goal was to create a new stereotype of what it means to be a Black woman and let that stand for itself. Like, we are not all of these things that you see on the media. We are strong, we are powerful, we are brilliant, we are achievers, we are like literally strive for excellence. It's a part of our culture. It's how we grow up. Like, if you ask any Black woman, I'm not kidding, probably 98% of them will tell you their parents told them, you must perform up here if you want to be accepted here. And so like performance and excellence is built into us from birth. And so that's like what it's like 20, I think it was like 2015 or 16 at the time. I was like, we don't have to be what they show in the media. We can make our own media. We can be powerful. We can do amazing things. Like the fact that I didn't know what entrepreneurship was until I was like 22 is a problem. That's a problem. And I want to change that.
You got to tell your story, Trevi. It's happening.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's why when we spoke last week or whatever, I was really pumped. Like, there's a lot in here, and I think you could be a good voice. I think a lot of people would look to you, even though you're nowhere near done. Like, look out, world, for what Trevi's about to, do for the next decade. But I think a lot of people would look to you and be inspired. As a last note, I don't know if you know Akio Morita, if that name means anything.
I do not. No, I'm not familiar with him.
I would look him up. He started Sony.
Okay.
And at the time, he came from a Japanese family, obviously, 11 or 13 generations of sake brewers, and very, you need to go be a sake brewer. Like, it's just eldest son, you're supposed to take over very traditional Japanese culture. And he said, no, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and start a technology company. At a time when made in Japan it meant garbage. Like, made in Japan meant it's bad quality, it's going to break down really quick, super cheap, don't trust it. And he helped turn around the entire country of made in Japan now means quality. And so as you were talking, it's like, I want to create a new stereotype for what a Black woman equals. Made me think of Akio Morita, of like changing the entire perception of what made in Japan means. There's a book, I think it's called Made in Japan, that kind of highlights. Now, this wasn't just 1 year. This was his entire life journey, right? Of slowly shifting the culture and building Sony to be. If you buy a Sony product, you don't expect it to break down in 6 months.
That's true.
If you buy Japanese cars, you don't expect them to break down in 6 months. And he was the one who kind of led that whole thing. So I think there's probably a lot of learnings in there that you could pull from to basically do the same thing, but for Black women across America. That if somebody then sees a Black woman as them coming on for the YouTube channel audit, they're like, oh, damn, this is awesome. As opposed to, oh, okay, I guess we're going to talk. Yeah, I think there's definitely something there. Cool. Well, thank you for coming on live and sharing your story, and hopefully the first of many interviews for you to do and go off and continue to share, because I think a lot of young women, Black entrepreneurs too, could all learn from you and be inspired by your success.
Thank you so much for having me, Evan. This was absolutely amazing. And just so everyone knows, like, when Evan asked me to come on his show, and it literally almost brought me to tears, the fact that he was the one who initiated this conversation with me about what it's like being a Black woman and running this business and being in this industry. And I've never had anyone initiate that kind of conversation. It was like transformational, and I just encourage everyone, take Evan's lead. This has been an amazing opportunity. Thank you so much.
I'm still getting used to accepting compliments, so I appreciate it. I'll sit on it. Thank you, Trevi. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody watching. Share your story more, Trevi. The world needs it.
Thanks, Evan.
Believe. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.